Welcome to Kinda Loopy. This is a podcast mostly about knitting, a little bit about crochet, and we're going to throw in some of life and its loopiness while we're at it. My name is Sarah, and you can find me on Instagram under SarahJean77, where I have been for a really long time and have posted lots of things over the years. But I also can now be found at Kinda Loopy with 3 O's. Somebody else is already a little bit loopy, but I guess I'm loopier because I get that extra O. My intention for the Kinda Loopy Instagram account is for it to just be knitting and crochet. I still don't know if it's a good idea to separate the two things. We'll see how I feel about that, but I'm concerned I'm going to neglect one over the other, and I don't want to neglect the one I've had all along. But then what's the point of making a new one? I don't know. I'm still working through that. I first learned to knit in 2008. I watched YouTube channels, and that's where I still go to learn anything that I don't know about knitting. I don't remember what made me want to do that at that time. Obviously that's pre-pandemic, so it wasn't like I was stuck at home. Well, I was a stay-at-home mom, so maybe that is part of it. And I didn't really know anybody who knit other than my grandma. I do remember my grandma knitting when I was young, but she never taught me that I recall. And so just one day I decided I wanted to do it, and I made it happen, and the rest is history. I started my first crochet project in 2017, and I'm still working on it, so I'm going to share that with you. And it's not because I don't love it or I'm struggling, but crochet is definitely not my first love when it comes to fiber crafts. But just this year I have kind of started dabbling in it in a little bit more, and I think you'll see more of it from me as we move forward. Once upon a time, I had a couple of spinning wheels, and this tells you how much I don't know about spinning and wheels, because I don't know what to call the ones that I had. Well, one of them, it was a Louette. It had a single treadle. It was like upright. I don't know. I had it. I didn't use it very much. It didn't work very well, but I did have a Hanson e-spinner, and I did spin for a year or two on that. I don't have a lot of yarn to show from it. I made a hat once from my hand spun, but really spinning took away from my knitting time, and I couldn't do that. I only have so many hours in the day, and I would rather be knitting or crocheting. Those two kind of are the same thing to me at this point as far as my desire to do them. It's just, sometimes you want to work on socks, sometimes you want to work on a sweater, sometimes you want to work on a crochet blanket or something like that. About 4 years ago, my family and I moved from South Dakota to Southeast Tennessee, and there's not a lot of difference in where we live and where we came from. It wasn't like a huge adjustment, except for a few things, and one of those would be the climate. South Dakota, you have really long winters, very extreme temperatures, a lot of snow, and there was a lot of use for hats and gloves and scarves and mittens and shawls and heavy sweaters. And I love that. I love snow. I love cold weather. I'm at an age in my life where I'm hot all the time, so cold weather is definitely better in a lot of ways. But moving to Southeast Tennessee, we have 4 proper seasons here. They each last about 3 months, and then they move along as they should, and we don't have the same extremes as you do in South Dakota. So all of my hats and scarves and shawls and heavy sweaters and those kinds of things are still packed. They've never been unpacked since we've lived here. It probably would be like Christmas going through that to remember the things that I've knit. I'm still not sure what to do with those. I'm not ready to give them away. I don't know. I'm still processing what to do after 4 years with all of those things that I just can't use anymore. But it has forced me to kind of evolve in my knitting. So now I knit more with cotton and linen than I ever did before. I mean, wool is still king, but I've used more cotton and linen than I did before. I also knit more short sleeve items and even tank tops, which was something I never would have done in South Dakota. So it's fun. It's nice that it's kind of pushing me to, change a little bit and try some new things. This podcast, why am I doing this? Why now? I love podcasts. I love knitting podcasts for sure, but I watch a lot of other types of podcasts, like Appalachian Trail thru hikers, which I have no plans on doing in my life, but I'm obsessed with the people who do, and I watch all the YouTube videos every year. There's lots of things that I watch on YouTube. I watch YouTube more than I watch TV. I don't really watch TV so much anymore. I mean, my husband and I maybe watch some shows together, but mostly I'm watching YouTube, and I just think the, my dog's down here, the content that regular people put out is much more interesting than produced TV these days. So I kind of just want to be a part of that, and I just want to talk about knitting. I don't have real life friends that I see frequently who are knitters. Also, my daughter, my middle daughter, is in college for social media marketing right now, and she does run a vlog for our family on YouTube that she's done for a few years, especially since we've moved and we're not near our friends and family anymore. But I wanted to kind of help her get some experience doing something for somebody else, where maybe it's not the same aesthetic, or it's not the same, I don't know, sense of humor. That Gen Z humor is a little bit different than what I'm used to. So kind of giving her a chance to practice taking direction from somebody else when she maybe doesn't like what they want to see. So she's going to be helping me with the editing, and she's going to run a TikTok for me because I don't have TikTok, and you know, she's just getting experience with that. So I wanted to help her with that. And I want to kind of archive family memories, since she has started doing the family vlog. That's really more about the stuff we do together as a family. I thought I would really like to have the same kind of thing, but for my knitting. And if I don't put it out there for the world, then I won't take it seriously. So I'd probably do it twice and then be like, I don't feel like doing that anymore. So I thought if I commit to doing an actual YouTube channel podcast, then I'm more likely to stick with it. All right, that's enough about me right now. I'm going to actually talk about the knitting now. So since this is the first one, right? We don't know what I've done since the last time we talked, because we've never talked, but I thought I'd start with two of the most recent things that I finished. So talking about short sleeve and knitting with cotton and linen and those kinds of things more frequently. Here is something that I finished about 2 weeks ago. This is an Ankers summer shirt by Petite Knit. This one is made with Cestari yarn. I think that's how you say it. They're out of Virginia. This is a 75% cotton and a 25% flax. It's a DK weight in the RedBud colorway. Pink is my signature color, by the way, so we'll see a lot of pink. Pinks, teals, corals, mints, those are my things. Sounds very 90s when I say it out loud, but yes, this is my color palette. So this is just a short sleeve sweater. I think it's very flattering for anybody because of the ribbed yoke that it has. And I wore this to church last week, so it's a little wonky, it's a little folded, but really pleased with that. And like I said, I'm embracing the knitting with cotton and linen, those kinds of things, and doing more short sleeves. And while I'm at it, I should probably talk about this. So what I'm wearing, this is a Stanmore cardigan. I believe it was from an Interweave Knits magazine from years ago. I think I knit this in 2017. And I believe the designer is Connie Chinchio, something like that. I probably should just not say things when I don't know exactly what it is, but I am gonna have show notes in the description, and I'll link to everything that I talk about, so it'll be in there. I'll figure out what this is. I do know that the yarn is Malabrigo Arroyo in the Chispas colorway. This is really the only yarn, that's not true. This is one of the few yarns that my husband bought for me without me being there. He got this from the Loopy U. There's my dog again. There's people walking in front of our house. How dare they? All right, so the next thing that I finished recently is called the Cullum tee. This was designed by Isabell Kraemer for Quince & Co. I believe it is for their sparrow yarn. That's what it was for. It doesn't sit really well when it's just folded and not on a body, partly because of the lace and the rolled hem. It does have a lace hem in the front, but it looks really good on. I should have taken pictures of all of these things. I'm gonna learn some stuff, and I'm gonna start just taking more pictures of me wearing things so that I can share them. But this was made with drops of Belle, which is a cotton viscose linen blend, also DK. This is the Petrol colorway, or 17 is what it says on the label. The reason I know it's called Petrol is because I got it from Wool Warehouse, and they do say that on their website. And my understanding right now is that Wool Warehouse is no longer shipping to the United States because of tariffs. At least that's what I had heard, which is kind of sad because I do enjoy buying from them. It's very fast and very affordable. So hopefully that's not the case, or it won't be the case for long. All right. A couple of other things that I have finished recently. When I was talking about having to change how I knit, one of those things is with socks. So I like really tall socks, and I have hundreds of pairs of really tall socks, but January is about the only month I wear those here. So although I still have tons of sock yarn that I have to knit through in my life, I have been taking scraps, leftovers from previously knit items and making shorty socks out of those because I wear them much more. So this is, well, they are finished socks. I do have two. I just have one on the blocker. So these are DK weight socks. I knit them like they're DK. I believed the yarn was DK until I started to look it up to prepare to talk about them today. And from the website, they indicate this is a fingering weight. I'm really confused about that because it did not feel like fingering. It felt like DK. So I'm not sure at this point what I did. I knitted at a DK gauge and they're fine. But this is Araucania yarns, Huasco sock kettle dyes in the goldenrod color. And in my experimenting lately with using up scraps and doing shorties, since I will wear those more, I've just been using my own vanilla sock recipe. I don't follow a pattern for socks generally. I don't texture socks very often. So I just kind of knit them constantly. There's always a pair going. I mostly do it in church. I don't do it any other time, but so it takes a little bit for me to get through them. But I've been doing, like, this is a folded cuff. So I knit it twice as long and then bound off by folding the cuff over. So that's one way I've finished socks recently. This is another pair of socks I've done. I don't know what this yarn is. It could be a few things. I know I used it in a shawl some years ago. It could be Lolo did it. It could be Legacy Fiber Arts. It could be Adelaide Cottage. It could be a homespun house. I don't know. I really don't remember what this is. But this is just a fingering weight vanilla. I do all my socks toe up unless there's some reason why I need to do them cuff down, or maybe once every 3 years I'll just get a wild hair and want to do a cuff down sock, even though I did learn cuff down first. But this one just has a 3-stitch I-cord bind off, because I've just kind of been playing with different ways to finish socks. So I do have 2 of those as well. Then I took what I had left over from these and used it just for the toes of another shorty. Again, some leftover yarns that I really don't remember what they are, but I did about a 10-row short cuff on this one, just ribbed, 2x2 rib. And this one is textured. So I just said I don't texture socks too much, but I used the texture from Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luter, I think is who did those. I haven't looked in a really long time. I just have that one memorized still. I'm realizing all the things I need to pay attention to and think about ahead of time when I am going to do this in the future. I do have another singular finished sock. So this is a beaded cuff sock that I have completed, and it's shorter. It's not a shorty, but it's shorter than I would normally do for a leg. And I don't know if you can see that there's beads all in those cables. So I had gone to the Knitty McPurly retreat in Dallas earlier this year in January, and Lori from Arkansas Yarn Company was there, and she had this amazing sparkle yarn. Her yarn is much more sparkly than most sparkle yarns, in these most beautiful colors, and all these samples of some items, accessories with beads knit into them, and I fell in love. I bought all the beads, I bought the tools. I was sure I was going to be beading everything from that point on, and I did finish this sock. But what I realized is it's a lot of work to bead, and you have to pay attention, and you have to kind of be sitting at the right place. And I am just a comfort knitter who wants to be able to knit all the time everywhere and not really think about it. And I did cast on the cuff for the second sock, but it's been sitting there for months. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, because I'll never wear these with beads on them. So maybe I'm just gonna hang this one as a decoration, buy all my yarn. I'm not sure. The jury's still out on that one also. All right, so those are 3 recently finished objects. Now we're going to talk about the loose ends, those things that I am still working on. So this is my Crochet Granny Stripe blanket by Lucy of Attic 22, and this is my first crochet project. It's pretty big. I chained 300. I still don't know if that's big or not. I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook. I don't know what that is in letters. It says it's a 6.5. I don't know much about crochet. It just felt like the right size in 2017 when I started this, and I'm using all my fingering weight scraps, all the scraps. And so it has evolved, like the color scheme, the palette. It's a huge blanket as far as width, and it takes me a really long time to get through anything. So that's why it's been in the works since 2017. And I am not upset about that. I love this. I rotate my 3 scrappy blankets every Sunday. I only work on them on Sundays. And so every 3rd Sunday I work on whichever one I have assigned to myself at that time. So, you know, for only getting an afternoon every 3 weeks, and sometimes not even that because I travel a lot for work, it's just slow going. Maybe I'll get 3 or 4 rows done on a good Sunday, but I don't mind. Like I said, it's big enough that I can use it as a blanket while I work on it, and I get so much joy from crocheting on this that I don't care if it takes the rest of my life and I never finish it. And I'm sure that if and when I do finish it, I will just immediately turn around and start another one, because I just love it. I love it so much. So it's all fingering weight scraps. It's pretty thin as far as, you know, the fabric and the rows, but because there's so much yarn in it, it's pretty heavy at this point. So this will be around for a long time. Like I said, I love it so much, I don't even care. All right, so then I have another scrappy blanket. This is one of the 3 that I rotate with. This is a Jelly Roll by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. I only have 3 strips completed. I've just started a 4th strip. And I do this following Kayla Litton's notes, the Crazy Sock Lady. She does a little bit something different to kind of make the seams pop a little bit, and to give you a nice edge to pick up when you're putting a new strip on. But this is one of those 3 that I rotate every 3rd Sunday, and this is where scraps go first, and then whatever doesn't make it, it's too small for this blanket in the first place, or whatever's left, when I decide it's time to end a color, then that's what goes into my Granny Stripe blanket. I am doing these on, I'm using bamboo Chiaogu straights, but they're US 5 3.75 millimeter. And I've got my favorite little progress keeper of a cherry cordial. I'm not good at this kind of stuff. I don't remember who made this. So that's not very helpful. I want to say it's Simply Serving, but I could absolutely be wrong about that. Another project I'm working on right now is a Putney sweater by Amy Lowden, who is part of Dandelion and Dogwood Yarns, and she has the And Other Knits podcast and design brand right now. It used to be Taylor S Studios, I believe is what she was called, but she's now And Other Knits. So this is basically just a big squishy sweatshirt, and I am making it with Knitty McPurly's Dresden DK yarn, which is a blend of alpaca, baby Surrey alpaca, and silk. And so it is wild and crazy. It's so fuzzy. It's thick and thin, which normally I would not like, but it makes the softest, cloudest fabric, and it's so light. Like the weight of it is so light. So I'm really excited to have this finished. I was inspired by my friend Wendy, who lives just up the road a ways from me, who was also at the Knitty McPurly retreat, and she was making a sweater out of this yarn, and I would have never thought to do that until I saw hers, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have one of those for me. Something I've noticed, and this is the nature of hand-dyed yarn, right? You can kind of see maybe there's a pretty big contrast in the colors when I switched skeins, and you can really see it on the front here. The back panel, and then when I started this front left shoulder, we're done with one ball of yarn, and then I started with another one on the right front shoulder, and to connect the fronts, it almost looks color blocked, which I didn't mean to happen. I don't know that I would have done anything if I had realized it was going to happen, because this is kind of difficult to manage yarn. The yarn is it gets stuck together very easily, and so I would have probably just done it like this anyway. I don't mind that it's done this, because this is going to be just a very cozy sweatshirt that I wear at home, and it's fine. It's fine. My hair will block it. I'll say it's a design element. I'm not bothered by that at all. But normally when I'm using a hand-dyed yarn, a tonal one, I would alternate skeins. I didn't want to do that with this sweater, and so I'm fine with it. All the yarn did get dyed together, but that's just what happens. So I'm good with it, but I just kind of laughed when I noticed that was what was happening. All right, the last thing I am currently working on is a pair of socks, because I always have a pair of socks. So I just finished the heel on the first sock of this one. This is like church knitting. That's essentially what it is. So it just lives in my bag that goes to church with me. But this is just a vanilla sock. Again, I just have a recipe I use. I just know what I do with it. And obviously it's toe up. This is Malabrigo sock in the Primavera colorway, which I know means spring, but I think this is very fall-like. So I'll be knitting this later today while sitting in church. I don't buy a lot of yarn these days because I have a lot of yarn, and I try to keep my purchases to a minimum, but I did buy a couple of things in the last week or so. So I'm going to share those with you. So my husband and I had to run down to Huntsville, Alabama earlier this week. We go there fairly frequently for some specific things. It's about an hour and a half from where we are, so not too bad. But I visited a yarn store there, Fiber Artwork in Huntsville for the first time, and I got a couple of things. So I got, this is Bird's Nest Stitchery in their shiny Celadon base, which is a fingering, just 75/20 and 5% stellina, and the color is Into the Void, black yarn. I don't know, what was I thinking? But I want to make like an almost sheer, I don't know if sheer is the right word, poncho kind of cover up thing that I could wear for work when I have to be dressed for work. I work at home most of the time, so I don't have to get dressed, but when I do have to go places, it would be nice to have something that I can wear that's work appropriate. So that's what I plan on doing with that. I also got some Malabrigo sock yarn in the color Cirrus Gray at Fiber Artwork in Huntsville. And this is, the intention for this is my daughter's new boyfriend. I think he probably needs some socks, and this seemed like a good yarn for a first pair of socks for a young man. I also ordered the Fall Festival DK mini set from Moonglow Yarn Company. And so there is a set of minis. This are DK, they're 75/25 merino nylon. And we've got, you know, a couple of fall colors of the mini set, and then this full skein of a neutral called Book Nook, which I absolutely love. And I didn't know what I was going to do with this. I just knew I really wanted it. And the bounce blanket, I think, is what I'm going to end up doing with this, along with some yarn I'm going to reclaim from a blanket that I don't love any longer, that I'll talk with you about next time. Okay, so I think that's, oh, I forgot all about this other blanket that's in progress. It's just sitting there all sad and lonely. So I said I kind of have gotten into crochet a little bit more this year, and so I started a Battenberg blanket. My crochet skills were limited to the Granny Stripe until this year. I'd never made a granny square, but then when I went to the Knitty McPurly retreat in Dallas in January, I took a class on making granny squares, and it was very helpful. It took me a few months after that before I decided to dive in, but I have decided to make a red, white, and blue-ish Battenberg blanket. So I've got lots of squares that I've been working on. These ones need their ends woven in. These ones are woven in and blocked. I need 640 total between colored squares and then white squares. So I'm nowhere near where I need to be, but I love these. These are addictive. And my mother-in-law has, we call it the America room at her house. Her living room and her basement is just entirely red, white, and blue flags and Uncle Sam's and all that kind of thing. So I'm thinking I'm going to make this for her. If it goes well. If not, then I'll keep it for myself. But this is going to be a work in progress for quite a while as well, if I need hundreds of these squares. All right, I'm going to get better at all this, I promise. So just at the end here, I'm going to kind of shift and talk about just life stuff. Get to know all of you a little bit better, and help you get to know me a little bit better. My husband, Dave, I'll probably end up talking about him sometimes, and you'll probably see him in some vlog stuff, because I think I'm going to put some of what we do during any given time. Anything fun we do, I'll probably share some of that. But my husband, Dave, and I have been married for 26 years. He's retired from the Army. We do have 3 kids. They're all grown adults. Our oldest is 26, and she lives about an hour from us now. and she works full-time for the Tennessee Air National Guard. And then our middle daughter still lives at home with us, but she is going to school. She goes online at Liberty, and she still lives at home with us while she does that. She's the one who's going to be helping me with the social media managing of all of this. And then our son is 20, and he is also living at home, going to school online at Liberty. I see that I'm rocking the table. I hope I haven't done that a bunch. So even though our oldest lives about an hour away, her boyfriend lives right down the road from us, so she is here more than she's not. And, you know, we still have our immediate family pretty close together, even though they are all adults. I travel a bit for work, and so I have been traveling 12 of the past 28 weeks, I think I added up. That's a lot of back-to-back travel, and, you know, then just being home for 2 weeks and at it again. It's been going on since March. It's kind of normal. It's kind of a lot this year. I don't know, but it's nice to be home. I'm going to be home for the foreseeable future, so that feels good. We're just getting ready to go to church today. We actually have a friend who's coming to church with us. He's just going to try our church out, and then I think we'll go to brunch with him afterward. And then I am the mom of Swifties, and so after all of that, we are going to the official release movie video. I'm not even sure what we're watching. We're going to the theater and watching something about Taylor Swift's new album that came out. This is what we do when we're moms of Swifties. All right, well, thank you for joining me. Hope you stick around and help me get a little more polished at this. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Do you want to go outside? Should we go outside? Yes? You want to? Okay. Pretty nerdy, but I'm cool with it.
Because then, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I can see on the card.